Every day since May 2017, Jacqueline Mobio walks along the streets of her neighborhood, Port-Bouet, one of the 10 communes of the Ivorian economic capital, Abidjan. At the age of 24, this marketing and communication student has embarked on entrepreneurship by opening this shop that she co-manages with her sister. Her dream of becoming a great entrepreneur is beginning to take shape. Several hundred kilometers away, in the village of Zeta, 36-year-old Lassine Traoré takes care of raising chickens on his farm, which required at least 3 million CFA francs of investment. We are about 15 kilometers from Yamoussoukro, the political and administrative capital of Côte d'Ivoire. This former gold digger is also involved in market gardening by cultivating okra and tomatoes on this agricultural perimeter belonging to the village school. Two young people, two different paths, but one thing in common. They are both part of the group of young Ivorians who have benefited from the support of FAFEDE, the African Foundation for Entrepreneurship and Economic Development, to start and consolidate their own company through the concept Undertaking from Scratch and the initiative 35.3, which advocates tax exemption for young people aged 35 and under for 3 years. When we talk about starting from scratch, it is not totally 0 francs because we can't do much with 0 francs. On the other hand, with 1,000 francs, one can undertake something. For example, I myself have started with 5,000 francs, and I can assure you, with this money, I began selling underwear in class among my friends and fellow interns at the office. With the training that I followed, I was able to achieve concrete things. At first, with 5,000 francs, I end up with a profit of 1,000 francs. With this money, I was able to save 500 francs. Therefore, with 5,500 francs, I made a profit of 1,500. Then I saved 1,000. Then I took 6,000 francs to go to the market, and so on and so on. I cannot give my turnover, but I can manage now. I can pay for my school documents and manage other expenses.
During the training, we first learned how to do simplified accounting. We learned how to have a market. We've been taught to look for a market for an already finished product. We've been taught to do market research and how to manage our earnings. And today I believe that anyone who has followed this training and who strictly follows the instructions can't struggle because he will always have a little money on him. It's difficult at times, but at least he has some money on him to support himself.
Launched 2 years ago, the concept Undertaking from Scratch is defined by its promoter as a new vision of entrepreneurship. It aims to teach young entrepreneurs and project leaders to free themselves from the need for traditional bank financing and the lack of capital to start and develop their business in any sector. This initiative is supported by the Ivorian state through the Youth Employment Agency, which ensures the implementation of the National Employment Policy strategy by various national programs of professional integration for young people.
L'une des politiques majeures de l'Agence Emploi Jeune, c'est le faire faire.
One of the major policies of the Youth Employment Agency is to delegate responsibility. We understand that alone we cannot bring solutions. We agree we contract with actors allowing us to deploy and be more efficient. It is in this sense that FAFEDE, with its initiative to undertake with 0 francs, appeared to us as an initiative with added value insofar as it presents itself as a new vision of the entrepreneur, not based on a frantic race towards financing, but on the own capacities personal to the entrepreneur to position himself vis-à-vis his company. So we have signed agreements with the FAFEDE Foundation in 2016, and since then this initiative has supported the Youth Employment Agency in the implementation of its programs for entrepreneurship.
En faveur de l'entrepreneuriat.
Il faudrait comprendre que ce concept d'entreprendre à partir de 0 francs.
It should be understood that this concept of undertaking from 0 francs is one we define as the non-use of traditional financing. So when a young person does not use a bank, a traditional financing to start his business, We are talking about 0 francs. A Bill Gates who borrows $100 from friends to start a business. We also speak of 0 francs here. It is this concept and the techniques of being able to start that we teach through FAFEDE and Initiative 35.3. So the first problem we are trying to solve is the financing of young people in relation to entrepreneurship by teaching them how to start their businesses from scratch with FAFEDE.
Comment ils peuvent démarrer leur entreprise à partir de 0 francs avec la FAFEDE.
Through this innovative approach to promoting entrepreneurship and self-employment, FAFEDE aims to make a contribution to reducing the mass unemployment of young Africans. This ambition began early 2018 by the training and the capacity building of 13,000 young people in 10 days throughout the Ivorian territory. The different targets of these training models are first-time job seekers, young people without qualifications, young people with disabilities, rural youth groups, out-of-school young people, and even retirees.
Nous avons 3 modules que nous enseignons.
We have 3 modules that we teach. There is undertake at 0 francs. There is the behavior with respect to money, which is the financial profitability, and the business plan. Here are the 3 modules we teach during the session. There are no limits in terms of training, whatever your level, whether you are illiterate but capable of undertaking, understanding and speaking basic French, translating our explanations into your local language in order to get you started as an entrepreneur. This is enough for us. There is therefore no diploma necessary. As soon as you are under 40, you have access to start at 0 francs.
Vous avez accès à entreprendre à 0 francs.
We know that in general, when competitions are offered, there are thousands of people who come forward and apply with hope to be selected for these jobs. I choose to undertake especially knowing that the salaries of the public service are not very high. I chose to create my own business, to be my own boss. Personally, I'm interested in agriculture, in soil-less culture, and I am now trying to see how to implement this idea from 0 francs.
I am a farmer's son, and in my village, there are more than 50 hectares of inlands that are not exploited. The parents are content to make 1 hectare or half a hectare just for consumption. But with this training that I just received, I realized that I can take advantage of these 50 hectares and make a large production to sell. Now, how to find the financing? Well, during the training, we've learned how to convince investors in order to finance.
In Côte d'Ivoire, the working age population is estimated at about 12 million. Out of a population of about 24 million. If the country has a relatively low unemployment rate of 5.3%, it will conceal large proportions of underemployment and precarious jobs. Faced with the difficult equation of youth employment, the mobilization of all public and private actors, as well as that of development partners, is therefore crucial to provide an answer to the challenge.
What is important to remember is that the FAFEDE is a very good concept that adapts to our realities. So we must continue this action, educate young people and make them not to get discouraged. Help them say, yes, I'm able to undertake with what I have. And this is extremely important in an increasingly difficult world, a world where funding is increasingly rare. Starting from a base where you do not have much is a very good thing.
We believe that people can flourish in all sectors. We also find that in Yamoussoukro there is a large land potential that could be exploited, for example. We're talking about agro-pastoral projects, and we have already financed young people who are already active in Yamoussoukro. These young people who made the hot pepper plantations that I did visit. There is also breeding, and we think that young people can undertake in this sector, which is very promising.
I would like to obtain financial support because if I had the necessary means, I would not have opted for this work. I wish to do better than that. Where I'm here is a swampy area. You see that there is water everywhere. So we especially need financial support and supervision, and it is because we do not have the means that we have to make small fields.
With the spread of youth unemployment, various programs have been implemented by African states and their partners. In this context, the African Development Bank, which plans to create 25 million jobs for young people over the next 10 years, supports the concept of entrepreneurship from 0 francs. The African Development Bank, as part of its strategy for youth employment in Africa, which is a very ambitious strategy that aims to create jobs for 25 million young people in 10 years. This strategy is well aware that the role of the private sector and particularly of entrepreneurship is at the heart of this. And aware of all this, the African Development Bank has established a partnership with Dr. Samuel Maté, and therefore his initiative on entrepreneurship with 0 franc that we consider very interesting, because one of the major constraints to encourage youth entrepreneurship is the mentality of always telling ourselves that young people need help and that it takes a lot to undertake, when precisely this initiative shows that it is with their own resources that they must first of all rely on. With the little they have, and as they go, show their failures, because it's part of the process. Learn from their mistakes to build something afterwards.
Les efforts aujourd'hui
The efforts being made by African rulers today are minimal compared to the efforts they must make if they want entrepreneurship to drive growth. We should therefore move to massification, multiply by 100 the efforts that are made today. For that, we need courageous actions. We said to ourselves, we will train 13,000 young people in 10 days. It is a little crazy because we had opposition, people who told us, in 10 days it is possible to train young people to become entrepreneurs? How are you going to do for logistics? Where will you find the money, etc.? But I want to thank the Ivorian government, the ministers who believed in the project and told us, we support you. So at this level, we have 10 teams today, and we split Côte d'Ivoire in 10. And each team has a zone, a goal, people to train, and it's happening rather well. And my personal goal today is that other countries get to hear about this action, and we are ready to replicate this experience around Africa.
vers d'autres pays africains pour répliquer cette expérience.
More and more initiatives across the continent are trying to facilitate the economic integration of young people through entrepreneurship, particularly by strengthening their technical and managerial capacities. In order to achieve its objective, FAFEDE intends to expand its network of partners in order to strengthen its offer of training and support programs for young entrepreneurs. The goal is ultimately to create an army of entrepreneurs in Côte d'Ivoire and Africa and solve the constant problem of youth unemployment on the continent.